friends, strangers, internet. My name is Emily. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. Welcome back to my channel, or if you have never been here before, welcome in. You have landed upon a new random series of mine. And by random, I mean I'm gonna make these videos whenever the fuck I want. How the fuck did I not know? How the fuck did I not know that I was neurodivergent, that I was autistic, that I had ADHD? So, if you are new here, I am all of those things, and I am also somebody that likes colorful makeup, somebody that has a lot of opinions. And if any of those things, or just cute fat babes in general, interest you, I hope you will subscribe. As a lot of you also discovered, during the course of the early days of the pandemic, I started getting completely read for filth and demolished by TikTok, by my For You page. And this opened up a world of things that I was not totally aware of about myself. Basically, I figured out, I don't know, by June of 2020, I'm gonna say, if not sooner, that I was a very neurodivergent person and that I have ADHD. Also, I met my dear friend Audra it was late 2019, I feel like, when we first started talking. And they were also going through their own journey of discovery. And so it helped a lot to have somebody to really talk to you about things. We are different, but we, see each other. If you are neurodivergent, get yourself neurodivergent friends. It fucking helps. So yes, I was 35 years old before I discovered that I was neurodivergent. 35 years old. 35 years old. And I was a good 36, 37 before I started facing the fact that I am autistic. I would probably say I was around 36. It's probably been about a year. About the last year. Even beyond ADHD, the autism realization. How the fuck did I not know? I have a lot of these moments, and I have a lot of conversations with Audra, among other people, other friends, where we talk about things like, how did we not know? And there are lots of good conversations happening online on Twitter and other spaces. A lot of people just sharing these stories. There's a lot about this whole topic that is very trauma-filled. Like, there's a lot of things for a lot of us that are like discovering our neurodivergency later in life, or just not as a child or a teenager, because I'm not even going to say this is later in life. But there are so many things that we have gone through that, looking back on, you start realizing like how much different your life could have been, how much easier or less trauma-filled or less just bully-filled, like just all these different things that we go through. So anyway, yeah, I want to talk about my relationship to water and how did I not know? And this is a positive thing for me. This is a positive one. I really yes, this feeling, this question is a lot, but it really is a positive thing. So my entire life, because I was going to say for as long as I can remember, my entire life, I have loved water. I think it's like beautiful, both visually and like auditorially, like the sounds of the beach or of, water moving, of rain, of showers. I love being in the water, whether again it's like a shower or a bath or the ocean or a pool, it is restorative. It really is for me in a way that feels like it's something bigger for me. It's like I guess if I think of like the tenets of like, I don't know, my life or who I am, it just feels like a very important thing to be in the water. For me, it's a very important thing. And I think a lot of fat people relate to this. A lot of us, we are extra buoyant in the water, so floating is easier. And that feeling, the lack of gravity, like it's very comfortable, and movement in the water feels much more comfortable than movement like on land, especially for me. So there's a lot of reasons that it makes sense, and it's not even, tied with being neurodivergent. And anything I say today, if you're not neurodivergent and you feel like you relate to that, I'm not trying to put my neurodivergencies on you or anything. Like, if you relate, I fucking love that. I want to hear your stories in the comments. I'm going to say that now. But also, if you are neurodivergent, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your perspectives. So, from a kid, I was very lucky. We had a neighborhood, like public pool that was very close to the house I grew up in. And my family would get like a membership most summers growing up that I can remember. And I was that kid that I always wanted to be at the pool. Always wanted to be there. Whether my brothers or my parents or friends were there, I wanted to be there. I didn't need other people that I knew to be there for me to enjoy it. And it was always a struggle of like getting the permission to go, because, chores and all the things that are put on the eldest daughter and all that stuff, all those demands. But I always loved the water. And I learned how to swim at a pretty young age, but it's not about swimming for me. Like so many people, I still have these memories of feeling a little bit odd. Because like when I had the chance to go by myself, like people that were at the pool by themselves, they often weren't kids. If they were kids, they were just like swimming. Or if they were just any age, I feel like people were either specifically swimming or like sunbathing. And I'm just like floating around. It's not like, swimming is nice, but that's not my love of the water. I've always loved the pool, and like as I grew up, I loved any chance to go to the beach, which wasn't super often before basically moving to New York. And then even in New York, you have weather and all of that. All of this to say, I've always enjoyed it. I'm like talking a lot, and I'm trying to figure out what is important to hear and what is not. But when I moved out of New York, there's a lot of reasons why I've moved. But one of the things I was like, if I have to move, which is basically what more or less happened, I want to be somewhere where it's warm and I have access to water, because I don't do well in cold weather. I just don't. My brain and body really, I love the water, but I also love like warmth and the sun while being in water. So for the last year or so, I've had the luxury, the pleasure to live in locations where it's friendly for swimming most of the year. And I've lived in buildings with pools. And I just never realized how much I stim in the water. That's what it comes down to. So I, in the last week, I've been putting renewed effort to just take time to enjoy the water. And I've just finally realized I am stimming when I'm in the water. When I'm in the pool, I float around. I just recently actually got a pool float, and I realized I didn't realize how much that was also important. So like I am like floating around. I like dancing in the water. I will swim some, but a lot of it is just like, it's truly stimming. And if you know what that is, you get it. And if you don't, it's okay. It's just maybe editing me will put in like a definition, because I thought about that earlier and then I forgot. So maybe editing me will put that in.
What exactly is stimming? Stimming means self-stimulation. Everybody does it. However, people with autism tend to do it a lot more than others. An example of self-stimulation would be if you stub your toe and start bouncing around and make yourself feel better. Or if you get a paper cut and you flap your hand around, even though it doesn't technically do anything for the cut. It's self-stimulation. It makes you feel better. So people with autism tend to do that a lot more than others. We will stim for a variety of reasons. Usually it's because we're overstimulated. You can have physical stims such as flapping your arms, bouncing. I like to bounce a lot. You can have verbal stims such as making a noise repeatedly, listening to the same song repeatedly. In the workplace and school settings and around just judgmental people, you try your hardest to not do it. But of course, this makes you want to stim even more. But yeah, that's stimming.
And I truly feel like I act like a kid in the water. Like I was embarrassed the other day when I was like, I lost the float. And I was like going, like swimming to try to grab it. And I was just like kind of like making some kind of noise or saying something that was like me as a kid, like very childish. And I saw a neighbor walk by the pool and I was just like, part of me was like, well, this is who the fuck I am, I guess. And the other part of me was like, oh God, I'm so embarrassed. So that's a lot of it, is that this time in the water, just I can let go in a lot of ways. And so the other part of this, beyond the stimming and the play, is floating in the water also is like, it's so restful for me. I struggle a lot with sleep, and sometimes I feel like just laying in the water for half an hour, sometimes multiple hours, is like way more restful than sleeping. And I'm sure it's all the thing about like buoyancy and gravity and not feeling those things and just, but there's also that feeling when your ears go under the water. It's a cocoon. And if you are somebody that, deals with like overstimulation or auditory sensory things, this description may or may not make you happy to think about. I don't know. But because like I could see how this might not be pleasant for everyone. But as somebody that wears headphones out in the world a lot, and that finds that having either noise canceling or just other sounds kind of cocooning my ears very helpful, especially kind of like out in the world. That feeling in the water is so lovely. Sometimes that time when I'm floating is like time where my brain actually clears out the most, like it's meditative sometimes. And other times it can help me think through things that I haven't been able to think through. So it's like, sometimes I do actually disassociate. Sometimes I just zone out. Sometimes I think about things that I haven't been able to think about and like, work on or work through. It's just such a powerful space for me. All of these things that I'm doing in the water, for me, feel like such big signs of like, bitch, you're neurodivergent. And so I'm getting emotional because I'm like, how did I not know? So I also love baths. I really enjoy showers, but I love baths. And I've really never had a bathtub that is the right size for my body as a fat person. A lot of baths aren't even really as comforting or comfortable as they should be, but that time, it still counts in this whole discussion. I knew I was very depressed when I was living in Brooklyn, especially during the pandemic. And I feel like almost every night, if not every night, I was taking a long bath. And yet again, it was that thing of like, even when I struggled to sleep, the rest, like I could rest in the water and I wasn't sleeping, it wasn't dangerous, but like I could rest in the hot bath. And I knew I was escaping from the world. I knew what I was doing, but it was like one of the only little sacred spaces, especially in that time and in the apartment that I had. So yeah, not only did I want to just take some time to talk about like something that is very important to me and brings me a lot of joy, but it's like, I know I just said this, but like, how did you not know? So if you found this at all relatable, if you are neurodivergent, if you are, newly discovering the world with this information, I would love to hear from you in the comments. I also have a Patreon and YouTube membership, which are great ways to support and have a little bit more of a smaller community, family that is just really lovely. And a lot of us are neurodivergent over there. I hope that y'all are into this series idea. I would love to hear, a positive reflection on how you didn't know all this time, or anything you feel like sharing. I really appreciate you all so much, and I hope you enjoy this video. I'm feeling a little, self-conscious at the end, especially since I got all emotional, but I'm just really thankful that I'm living in a place where I can really indulge and restore myself in the water. And I hope that if you have something in your life that is a really helpful space or helpful thing for your neurodivergent brain, that you are able to partake in it. Anyway, if you're not yet subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. But most importantly, take care of yourself better today than you did yesterday, because you are worth it. Bye, friends.